Welcome to Paranormal Heart, a place where people can talk about their paranormal experiences. With your host, Kat Ward, along with a special segment, Oddities with John Mallard.
Welcome back, folks, to Paranormal Heart. I'm your host, Kat Ward. You can find us on the second and last Sunday of each month on Podbean and YouTube. You can also find us on sparkradionet.org, iTunes, Spotify, Podchaser, and I'm very proud to say I've recently joined the family on New Lantern Media Network. And you can still find us anywhere you find fine podcast. If you enjoy the show, please show your support by telling others about us. Hit that like button, share, subscribe, and follow. Folks, this episode I want to give a very special dedication to a true hero, Kevin Schell. On Monday, August 24th, 2020, in Bracebridge, Ontario, Canada, a distressed, unexperienced swimmer was noticed by 3 women and Kevin Schell. The 4 took immediate action to save the man. The man was saved, but tragically, Kevin did not fare as well. He was caught in an undertow and drowned. He gave his life trying to save another. The story does not end there. You see, Kevin was the love of a very dear friend of mine, Mary Jane Horncastle, someone I've known for many, many years. Mary Jane was telling me just the other day how Kevin used to go across the road of their house every day and watch the frogs. He'd sit there and count them every day. The other day, his brother found a frog in the basement in his room. He's never found a frog in his house before, and he's trying to figure out how the heck it got there. Now, Mary Jane went to count the frogs. Normally there are 8, and that day there were 7. Then a friend of Kevin's was working the night shift. When he got out of his car, he noticed a frog. It followed him into the building. Mary Jane went to do a frog count, and you guessed it, there were 6 left. It still doesn't end there. Kevin's aunt was on a walking trail, the same trail she always walks on. One day she sees a frog. She has never seen one on her walks before. Even though Kevin's not with us physically, it sure looks like he's still with us spiritually. So this episode is for Kevin, a hero. He is a Mohawk of the Wolf clan. Mary Jane says he was a wolf in the physical world and a frog in the spiritual world. May you rest in peace, Kevin. I know this dedication was long, but I really wanted to make sure that everyone knew about this brave soul and his brave deeds. Rest in peace, Kevin. In episode 42, I am joined by another interesting guest. She comes from a 900-plus-year-old tradition of spiritualists that originated from Spain in a small village called Espirito, meaning the village of the spirit. Her mother was born in this village, and the gypsies are all spiritualists. Following tradition, the eldest daughter are always born with a gift, called El Don. She had her first experience with the paranormal at the age of 3. Now she is a criminology specialist, a proud U.S. Air Force veteran, obtained a master's degree in criminal behavior, and a life coach certification. I introduce to you Queen Bibi.
Okay.
Hey, Bibi, welcome to Paranormal Heart. Let's try this again. We had technical difficulties.
Thank you so much for having me. I love it.
I'm so happy you're here. And I have to say, Al Santariga, he's the one who recommended that I have you as a guest. And I'm so happy that he did because, as we mentioned earlier, we spoke for, you said 2.5 hours the other day for the first time.
Yeah.
And yeah, we just hit it off, and Al's like, yeah, I knew you'd love her. He says, I knew you'd hit it off.
Al, the sweetheart.
Oh, he is. A lot of time for Al. Yeah. So, why don't you start off by telling us a little bit about yourself, and we'll take it from there.
Okay. How far back do you want me to go?
Wherever you want to start.
Okay. So I come from a 900 plus year old tradition where sometime during the Middle Ages, a spiritualist was born, and she had left certain words behind, not curses, but every first of every born from this bloodline will be a spiritualist. They have different levels. Some of them were healers, some of them were just empathic, some of them were very psychic. It all depends on where they were, in what time period they were. There were books left behind for us to figure out, which I have to send you that alphabet that we do have here.
Yes.
So basically, you could see was it basically like for them not to learn how to read or write, but they used to do science. They used to do science all the time. So my mom, of course, was the eldest of the sisters, so she had it. And then when I was born, I was the eldest of the girls too. So it became a different situation as the different stages in life. For example, the 80s, the 60s, the 70s. So when I was born in the 60s, it was a time of a lot of controversy going on. So they had to teach me for years and years and years how to control these energies. My first encounter for the paranormal, I was 3 years old. I was actually in my crib, and my mother heard me saying something in a certain language, and she picked it up, got out of her bed, went into my room, and she saw me looking at the corner. Well, she said that I had experienced my first guardian, because we have guardians that come in with the spirituality. These are this is the history. What they say is, when your guardian comes in, it doesn't mean that's the only one. That's one out of 9. So the first guardian that came in, I was 3. And that guardian, when she came in, she was actually a gypsy. So she goes back many years, like 500-600 years from the time I was born. Then they tell me what her purpose was. But I didn't see her completely. I only saw her clothing, which was very exciting, because I was like, "What? I want to wear those clothes." With lots of beads, gold, silver. Oh my God, it was beautiful. But then my mother had to tell me that I could not understand it at that time. When I was 5, a second guardian came in. Now I'm freaking out because this one has shells for clothing. And I'm like, what is she wearing? And all you hear is the shells banging with each other as she was walking across the room. And it was funny for a little while.
That's
Then when you
interesting.
get to-
Shells.
Yeah, she has shells for the top, and then shells in her skirt, like seashells and stars and everything ocean-like that you could find in the ocean sand. And she was wearing it as clothing. And she was walking really slow across the room. Also at that time, another entity entered the house, but this was nothing to do with me. And it was crossing the living room, and I saw it, but it was like a black shadow. And I pointed it out to my mom, and she says, "Go to your room." She told me, "Go to your room." I could see it. I don't know what she did, because I was a little girl. As you are a small child, you're thinking there's something wrong with me. And we were completely fast that she later on figured out, oh my God, she came with the don. They call it el don. El don is a gift.
El Don?
El don, yes. That's what they call it in Spain when you have that particular type of psychic gift. And if you are a spiritualist, you know everything. There's not just being in, part of smelling or hearing. You're going to see everything. You're going to see the good, the bad, and the indifferent. There is no way you can stop that, because that's just the way it works. So when people say, "Oh, we're going to go something, they're only friendlies." No, you don't know that. You can identify that unless I could see it. Then I could tell you what's in here, whether it's good or bad energy, unless you're empathic, where you can feel that energy that can be disturbing. But, it went on from there. At 10 years old, it became more and more difficult for me to attend school and see all these things walking around me. Or I was in Catholic school.
Oh, yeah, that must have gone over very well.
Catholic school wasn't bad. I was completely suspended from ever entering that church at the school that I attended
And how old were
because
you?
I was 10.
Wow.
Because the priest had a lot of little secrets. So whenever the priest would go on the altar to say his sermon, I could see the little black shadow with blinking red eyes going like this. And I was like, I'm not seeing that. I'm not seeing that. I'm not seeing that. And then my classmates would look at me and say, are you sure you're okay? You want some water? I was like, no, I'm okay. But the basic thing is I couldn't tell them. They're going to think I was crazy. So when I got home, I told Mom. I said, Mom, Father O'Brien has a black shadow that follows him, and it has red eyes. And she says, oh my. I said, what does that mean? Do I have to go back to school? She goes, you have to go back to school. Now you're going to take more of an attention towards Father Brian. Keep paying attention to what he does. I said, Mom, he's an undercover alcoholic. That's the way I see him, because he was always drinking.
Yeah.
And she says, no, you're going to pay attention to the surroundings. So at one point we were doing confession, and all the girls were lined up and sitting down, and all the boys were on the other side with Father Brian. And I'm looking and I see all the boys like all timid, like scared, and I was like, what's going on? It's like, why they look scared? So he was taking the boys behind the altar instead of having the confessions inside the confession booth. Mm-hmm. And I went back there and I kicked the door in. He had his pants down.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah. So I ran out of the church. Mother Teresa, Franco Teresa tried stopping me, who was the principal, and I ran out of the school. I went in front of the school and I waited for my mother there. And I told her, that's it. I can't do this anymore.
Yeah.
So she understood. And she said, what else did you see? I said, I saw a woman sitting next to me the whole time we were waiting. When I saw the boys, and the woman was not there, Mom. I don't want to go back to church. I thought that was what kept bringing the entities in and all the spirits in. Not really. I was seeing the things I was supposed to be seeing. So that's why she said, it doesn't matter where you go, you're going to always see these spirits. Whether they're good, bad, or indifferent. I can't stop it. And I said, okay, just take me out of church. I don't want to go back to church. So I went to, regular school, public school. But it wasn't easy to be yourself around kids your age, because I knew kids my age who would look at me as the weirdo kid, which I was. I was the weirdo kid. That's okay.
Yep.
Bully me if you want to. My dad put me in karate school. And he said, you're going to learn how to defend yourself always. And I said, yeah, I know. They bully you. I was at a point in high school where I would sit at a table and it was the weirdos table. The punk kids and whatever. And they would bully you. And I used to sit there and say, well, you could come at me anytime you want. Why? Because I was already trained as a kickboxer. I would kick anybody's butt. I didn't care. But there was more hate in the school. There was so many people. I told my teacher one day, I was in 10th grade, Kat, and my 10th grade science teacher, Mr. Duncan, he was such a sweetheart. And he says, I'm going on vacation and I'm going to go have fun. So, do everything that's supposed to be done by the end of the week. That way I can grade you before I leave. And I'm staring at him, and you won't believe that I saw death in his face. So I went back to him and I said, Mr. Duncan, do you really have to go on vacation? I mean, you're one of my favorite teachers. And he's like, no, my wife and I need to go on vacation. He never came back from his vacation. He actually drowned on a jet ski in the middle of the ocean.
Wow.
And the freakiest thing is that when they announced it on the loudspeaker, my whole heart just started beating really hard because I had mentioned it to him. And sometimes you don't want to say the things that I do see. And I could tell you, they never give you time or date. The way the spirits transfer, any of that information to me is by telling me it will be spring and beginning of spring, summer's ends, or the end of, it's got to be by the seasons. They go by the seasons because there's no timing on the other side.
So you don't know a year, just the time of year.
Yeah, just the time or the type of environment that's going on during that time of year. But they never give you time of day. I guess that's God's doing, and not mine. I do give warning. It's like, watch out for this person or prepare yourself for the worst. This is what I see. And nobody wants to hear that. Of course not. We don't want to hear that. That's not something nobody wants to know. But death is just part of life. So it's things that we have to accept all the time. And though it does hurt, we cry for being selfish because we're going to miss the person. But when they're on the other side, they're clear from us. I'm more scared of the alive than the dead at any time. Because, being with the spirits that are here, they're sent here for a reason. They're still here to finish whatever mission they didn't accomplish, and they're being sent back. And it usually takes 100 years. So if someone died 6 months ago, they're not coming back right now. They might be around family members, but they're not coming back to haunt anyone. You know how people say, when I die, I'm going to haunt you?
Yeah.
No, they don't give you that permission. Once you're on the other side, you have to follow whatever they tell you to do. That's the way it goes.
Like that book from Beetlejuice.
Yeah.
Yeah. We were talking about that, yeah.
I love Beetlejuice, one of my favorite movies.
Yeah.
So, as much as we want to make sure that people understand there are rules to this, there are so many things that can happen when people do not respect the rules. I was taught the rules from the age of 10 when I knew I could move energy. And after that, they were like, every time you do something, we have to make sure that you're doing it because you're doing it out of a good heart, not a bad heart. Because you do have a choice. So in the covenant that everybody went to on Sundays once a month, there was many, many other people just like me. And they would sit and talk about their kids and who has it, who doesn't have it. And when I was 10 years old, one of the main witches on the table, she said to my mother, you got to watch out for her because from here to the age of 16, we got to make sure that if she knows where she's going, she has to pick a side. So I could have gone either way. I could have been bad or I could have been really good. White table witch, black table witch. That's what they call it. There's no in between. We don't have a gray area. We say yes or no. We never have a situation without making a choice. Now, there are times you could be extremely compulsive when you're making a decision because you want to get it done. It doesn't work that way either. You have to think about what you're doing, who you're going to harm along the line. So it's not good to make choices if it's going to harm someone along the line. If you have children and you do something bad, your children will pay for it when you are a witch. So even if you think you got away with it, you don't get away with nothing. Because karma and the spirits that are here to protect me are here to also help me get into heaven. They don't want me to say, to go to the other side. So I've chosen to be in the white table area. So I have to do the good thing. So I won't get any bad karma. People wish me a lot of bad though.
Yeah.
That's okay.
Just push it away. Yeah. And I don't like I was telling you, I don't understand because the few times that we have spoken, you're just so sweet and caring and good vibes, but I don't know. I don't know why, and that's probably why. That's true, yeah.
So if you ask me, if you ask me to tell you the truth, so I'll use an example for somebody from the past. There was abuse, there was verbal abuse, there was opportunity, there was all the kind of things that we don't like about someone to be treated. And they knew this very well. So they came to ask me, what should I do? I can't give you that answer, but what I can tell you is, you be in a live this way and be unhappy for the rest of your days. We can't change that. There's no magic that can change that. You have to do it on your own. So when I said that, the person didn't get mad. It was the second party that got mad because they said that I was trying to remove them away from them. No, that person abuses you. So it's up to you, really. What am I going to do? Take you away, take you home? No, I can't do that. So, they don't want to hear the truth. You could tell me the truth. I will take it the way you're giving it to me. I'd rather know the truth than not the truth at all. When people are keeping secrets, I know. When people are lying, I know. When people are not being truthful to the actions they're taking, I know. And I tell them, so they don't like that.
Probably most people would I would imagine, feel intimidated by that too, because they know they can't hide anything from you.
No, they can't.
You see them for who they really are. Yeah. And that scares a lot of people.
I'll tell you a story. My ex-husband, he tried to play that for a while. And I looked at him one morning on a Sunday morning and I said, I am going to catch you. And when I do, all bets are off. And don't cry. Don't get on the floor like drama king or anything, because it's not going to work, okay? I'm just letting you know. I'm not doing anything wrong. That kind of hesitation. Wow. 7 days later, I caught him.
Yep.
Then he tried for a year. He tried begging to go back to his wife. And I said, no. You had an opportunity to make things right and not play this game. But I already knew it like 3 months prior. I was just waiting to catch him. And I was told I was going to catch him. So I told them, I said, I'm going to catch you. And as a matter of fact, a few days ago, I told someone is watching you and you're going to be arrested. They had a fit. And I said, what? Why are you so angry? Oh, why you got to say that for? It's like a curse. I said, you don't understand. I'm being told to tell you to watch yourself, or it may be your friend, but you are going to be arrested. And they lost it on me. I said, all right, bye. I hanged up the phone.
And were they? Or it hasn't happened? Were they arrested?
No, not yet. That was like 3 days ago.
Oh, wow.
Oh, it's coming. It's coming. Why? Because this is the thing. So I was going to show you. See this notebook?
Yep.
Okay. This is the notebook that I use to write everything in it. So let's say in the middle of the night, they're telling me something. So I write it down. And when it happens, I put a check on it. You see that?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
So every night I'm giving information. It could be anybody. It could be anywhere around the world. Okay. And I basically write it down just to remind myself that I heard about it. And I keep writing it down. And when it happens, I put a check. So, that information I gave it to him because it was told. They told me about it at 3 o'clock in the morning. And I wrote it down to remind them, listen, you got to be careful because they're watching your friend and you guys are connected. And if they arrest him, they're going to arrest you. I'm not going to wish that upon anybody.
No.
So, even though that I've had many different situations happen, by the age of 16, they already knew that I had a crown. So the crown, what it looks like in the dark is like a light over my head. It's like a fire. It looks like a flame. So they took pictures of it and they say, yep, she's the last queen in the family, in my mother's bloodline. So we didn't think that anybody else will have it because, I was the last of the queens. So the queen meant that I knew everything, but I had to learn everything before I can be crowned queen. So by the age of 14, I knew so many things that had nothing to do with school, but I had to learn this stuff. Then one day, one of the, high priestess in our covenant said to me, you're going to see something that nobody else will be able to see sometime in your lifetime. And I was like, okay, yeah, no. At 14, you don't want to hear that. I want to watch videos, watch YouTube. I want to go skating and skiing, but I had to pay attention to that. So I wrote it down on a notebook, and I always kept it. I still don't know exactly what it was supposed to be, but I'm waiting for that to come in. So I have 3 children, Kat, and all 3 children have it.
Wow.
And they're all readers, all 3. I didn't teach them because the guardian that comes with them is teaching them how to do this. And that's how it's basically done. And, I did many stupid things because I wanted to test myself at times, even though my mom would tell me, don't do it, don't go there, blah, 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 blah. So I think I told you during a talk about the Baron. So everybody always tells me, why you can't go into the cemetery? I say, well, 'cause I was punished to go into the cemetery. I have to ask for permission. They don't allow me to go in because I should not be waking up, the undead. So whenever someone has a big event at a cemetery, I stay outside of the gates. So when I was 16, oh wow, I was crowned, and they say I have this and I have that, and I could move energy, blah 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 blah. You could wake up, and I was like, wow, I'm cool. Weird but cool, right?
Yeah.
So I went to the cemetery on Halloween. My mother stands at the door and she tells me, you don't want to go to the cemetery on this day. It's not a good idea. And I say, yeah, whatever. So we all started drinking Colt 45 and Amanita. Do you remember Amanita? It's like part of Amaretto. It's
okay. Right. Yeah.
So we started drinking Amanita, and we're driving to Woodlawn Cemetery in the Bronx. It's huge. It has many famous people there. The mausoleums look like houses there. So we went over there, I say, I'm cool, I got this. So I started touching the tombstones and just go. I didn't care who it was. I didn't even read the name. I just went by, boop, and I touched it with my hand. And I'm walking along, just touching tombstones. And my sister was right behind me, and then all of a sudden she disappears. Her friend disappears. Everybody's gone. So I find myself alone in a section of the cemetery that I'd never been to before. So I'm trying to walk along and get out of there, but I feel all this energy, something trying to grab me, and I'm trying to walk really fast, but I know that I'm not supposed to be in the section. So I feel a push in my back, like literally a hand that pushes my body. So I go like that, and I didn't want to turn around. Of course, I was scared. That is the one time that I was scared. So I didn't want to turn around, and I'm like, okay, I got to walk faster. Maybe I start jogging, whatever, So I'm walking really fast, really fast. I'm trying to get out of the section. I get pushed again. At that point, I stopped, and I said, nope, you should not be scared. So he pushed me on the ground. It's what they call the Baron of the Cemetery. I was in his section, waking up anything that I could to test myself, and he told me to get out. I am not going to disobey that, and I started running, and I went over a fence, ended up on the highway. Then I had to go all in circle about 2 miles to meet my friends back at the front of the gate. And they were like, where the hell did you go? What happened to you? I said, well, I saw something that you guys will never understand. So when I get home, I got to explain it to Mom. Because remember, she told me, do not go into the cemetery this day. So she was totally right. I should have never gone there. So anytime somebody has a ghost hunt in a cemetery, I cannot go in unless I'm giving the permission, but I'm not supposed to go in there and entertain.
Gotcha. Forever.
Forever.
Wow.
So I am not going to play that. I don't
blame you.
If you were to see what he looks like, it's like an 8-foot off the ground entity. And he has a long beard, and he has a long white in the middle, then it's green on the side, and his hands are huge. I was like, oh, no. I'm not doing this. It's time for me to go. So I respect the fact that I was punished, and when I went back to the Covenant and I told them what I did, they weren't happy with me at all.
Yeah.
So they told me, you're going to be punished from using anything that you know how to do to gratify yourself. Because what happens is that if you're going to do this again, next time he probably won't let you go out of the cemetery. Take you. And the way they take you, when another spirit takes you, it just sucks your soul out and you're out. What's left there is the shell. There's nothing left of you. You're gone. That's it. So
like you were lucky you had a chance. Just that warning, yeah.
But again, things that people do not understand. They laugh at it. They will make fun of it. They will not correspond well when you tell them, listen, you can't do that. Oh, mind your business. This is none of your business. All right, fine. Okay. Here, go right ahead. I'll give them the pass.
Yeah.
I'll give them the pass. Go ahead. You got this. Okay. I can only give you advice once. If you don't take it, then hey, do whatever you want. Good luck. But again, all those negative people who want to do, oh, I want to get this. So listen, it's not that serious. We're here to have fun. If you're going to take it this serious, then you better be on that TV. Because otherwise, just cut the crap. I mean, don't treat people bad. You're not better than the next ghost hunter. They are also on the same length width as you, looking for the evidence to prove. Okay, so you're not any better than anybody else. Just have fun, enjoy this. Let people get involved. Some energies are better than others. Sometimes some energies come with you and they want to talk to you and not me. That's fine. I could hear them talking, but you see what I'm saying?
Yep.
So when you come in negative, they're going to treat you like that. So you're not supposed to be here, but you want to bother me? They could hear everything we say. Everything. So when they tell you to get out, they mean it. Like, I don't like your energy. So, some people just don't understand. You can't treat what you don't know bad. And I explained this to you too. It's like they don't know what a rampart is. They don't know. So, just say, you see the little pretty colors? Come and touch this.
Yep.
Let's make all these colors come up. Because you don't know what century that they're from. And you know very well, electricity during the 1800s might have been good in certain cities, big cities, but in the outskirts, there was no light. They used to use candles and stuff. So you explain that to someone who just is ignorant. It's really hard. It's amazingly hard. But I have to let people be at times.
Do you find, how can I word this now? Using English, because some people believe that if all entities understand English, do you believe that, or do you think that if you can speak their language, then you're going to get more of not activity, but you're going to get maybe EVPs or something like that?
No, most are okay. So most entities that I have encountered lately, let's say in historical places, it's 100 years old, 100 plus. Their language may be English, but if, let's say, there was a cleaning lady and she just came from Russia, she's not going to speak any English. So you got to always express yourself differently. I've heard someone speak Pig Latin one time. I heard someone speak Spanish. I had somebody speak African. I had somebody speak, it sounded like Muslim, French. And then, it's never going to be the language that we are speaking.
Yep. Well,
So
look at
if the
English.
person-
Look at English today as compared to the Shakespearean era.
That's
English
right.
is
It's
so
not-
very different.
It's totally different. It's totally different. It's like Italian during the Roman time. It's not Italian as it is today. And then the Sicilians spoke it different. Like Sicily speaks different type of
dialects.
Italian
Yep.
than they do in Italy. And the same thing in Portugal. Portuguese people speak a different type of Portuguese according to Brazil. Brazil, they call it the slang. Okay, but in all, when you are in a room and you're feeling some type of energy, you want to ask the right questions, because language is not the only thing that they see. They could see right through us. They see our fear, they see our expressions, they can feel our energies. So if you want to say something that can be helpful for a good ghost hunt, you got to start looking at all the things that are around us. Now, I don't like doing ghost hunts where there's 100 people in the same room. That bothers me, because everybody's energy is going to push it away.
Yep. I agree.
Okay? So, I just saw something standing behind you.
Oh, did you? What was it?
I don't know, it was on this side. Like, it's on your right side. Here. No, it went like this.
Just like that.
Just
Was
like
it
that.
was it a little girl by any chance?
Ransha.
Oh,
That's who it is.
yeah.
Okay. That's
Hello.
good energy. That's good energy. So I kind of didn't like, and I still don't like when you go to a ghost hunt and there's 10 people in one room. Even if you're quiet, your energy is making a change of the whole room, because sometimes they don't like an energy, they'll leave right away.
Mhm.
Some will stay because they just want to see how much they can bother people. So people don't know the differences, right? There's poltergeists. They will throw anything across the room. Those poltergeists are real spirits of human beings who are really angry.
Mhm.
Not that we are calling them demons, because they're not. They're just really angry spirits. They were either stuck here for whatever bad they did, and they want to take it out on other people.
Mhm.
Usually, when you get rid of that, it's a whole exorcism done. It's just like when you have a demon in your house. So, I seen a girl in Queens, New York, who was, oh my gosh, she doesn't look like the movie The Exorcist, because I gotta tell you, she wasn't green. Okay, nothing like that.
Yeah.
That's a bit more Hollywood. But her hair was like a mop,
Mhm.
and it was about this big. And her sight kept moving from side to side like really fast, like when you have severe stigmatism, really,
Mhm.
really, 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 really fast. So she was she was playing around with the Ouija board and her friends, and she went into her closet. Do you remember I told you about people drawing doors inside the closets?
Mhm. Yep.
I was 17 years old, and my mother said, we got to go to this house because it's going to be a lot of spiritualists there, and you got to learn. I was like, I don't want to. I'm good.
Yeah.
I, you know, she said, nope, you're coming. So we went, and there was chairs everywhere. There were 3 priests in the house. There was people all over the place. She was upstairs. We could hear the banging all over the walls. Now, she had this scripture written in her room that I couldn't understand. Then it hit me. It was ancient Pig Latin.
Hmm.
And I'm looking at it and I'm like, oh my gosh, it's trying to express itself. It's trying to say something. So when I finally got to see it, because on top of the fireplace, there was a mirror on the mantle. There was a giant mirror there. And I looked at my mother and I said, oh my gosh. She goes, what? What? Shh. What? Don't say it too loud. I said, Mom, it's passing right behind us. He's looking at all of us. Like he really was looking at all of us. And he kept going around the circle of all the witches. And my mother noticed it. And then everybody noticed it. And we were like really quiet, just looking at him move around. And he said out loud, I'll bring her down if I could take one of you.
Oh.
And it was very thin. It was really dark in the face. But in the hands, you could see like stripes like this of green on his hands.
Hmm.
And he looked like he was wearing a monk kind of, long robe.
Mhm.
And he passed, and then all we saw a line move, and then it went upstairs. And we all looked up, and when she comes down, I gotta tell you, this young girl leaped from the top of the stairs into the living room. Leaped like a kangaroo.
Hmm.
And we all moved back, and the priest finally got her, and they were able to take her down, do their prayers so they can remove. And then I was told to go outside. And then my mother stood in with the rest of the other ladies who were seniors and whatever, and they were praying and praying and praying. And finally, all we heard this high pitch, like really high pitch, when it started moving away, and we heard banging like on the walls, and it was gone.
Hmm.
So whatever ceremony it took place, besides the priest being there, it lasted 8 hours.
Wow. It's a long
8
time.
hours. Yep, it's a
Exhausting.
very long time. So we were there to about, I don't know, 4 in the morning. But it was very interesting how, everyone just looked at each other like, oh my God, this took hours to do, which gave me the realization that when people are playing that game, oh, I'm going to send somebody over on the other side. Don't play yourself. It doesn't work that way. Most people think I'm going to go into a ghost hunt and pass somebody over. You don't know what the hell you're talking about. If you're going to pass someone over, you need a whole gang with you. You can't do this by yourself, because what you're going to cause is for it to go into somebody else.
Really?
He's going to fight you.
Yeah.
They're going to fight you, and it's going to go into somebody else, because it doesn't go away that easily. You got to have enough good energies around you and enough prayer. So when people don't believe in prayer, they get tired of praying, you lose faith. So it has nothing to do with not knowing how to pray. It's knowing what to say in your prayer. You got to keep that in your heart. So that brings me to the other thing. God is in my heart. I have no fear of no one alive, no one dead. I have no fear. Come and get some. So when that happened, I was 17 years old. And then after that, we didn't get invited to go anywhere else, because that was the only time I seen someone who was possessed. And I was 17. Then after that, I never got invited again. I guess we didn't have no other person. But I've seen certain, that will send my mother certain letters, can you come and help me? And, my daughter's going through changes and that kind of stuff. And it was like a lot of letters, like a lot. Because she used to go with the seniors to go and do prayers to take things out. So again, I'm going to pass this person over. How are you going to pass them over? So all those experiences, what it showed me and taught me was that it's not as easy people think it is. You might pick up a book and read it, or this is how you pass someone over, but it doesn't work that way. If you're passing someone over, it's going to go into somebody if you're not doing the right thing. And that's a whole different entity of situations, and how to even do that. You have to know how to do it. It just doesn't work as people think.
So would that be why when people say they cross someone over and then say the person whose house you're at says, oh yeah, the house feels so much lighter. Well, it's because that entity's not in their house anymore. It's in someone else.
Yes.
And you think that they've passed over, and they actually haven't.
They don't pass over. We are human beings, and we're on the other side. If that thing was able to get through that dimension and it's here with us, to move it over, it's going to take a lot more power than that. It's not going to take that easy peasy, put on a candle, make that little prayer, and you think it's done. No, it doesn't work that way. It's a lot more serious than that. And that's why I so many people, I've gone to a lot of ghost hunts, and somebody told me, I'm going to pass this ghost over. I'm looking at her like, get out. Like, get out now. You're not passing nothing over. Come on, get out. You wouldn't know how to start. And it's a serious situation. And then if you pass it over and something else is holding it, you're going to piss this one off. And it goes in a domino effect. Now it's going to start getting angrier because you decided to do something without permission. We are not here to move anyone over. If they're here for a reason. We're not here to do that. If you want to pass a family member over because you think that they're not at peace, then you could do that. But going into a ghost hunt and passing people over, get off that horse. That should not be happening. But there's people who do it. There are people who are doing it.
Happens very often.
Yeah, it does. And it's a bad thing. It's a bad thing. And I laugh because I see somebody get possessed, and I'm just looking at them like, yeah, who told you to pass somebody over?
Yeah.
I had to laugh because I said, well, I said, don't do it, but you still did it. So there you go. Can you help me? No, I cannot, because now you're going to have to find a way for it to leave you alone. It's people don't listen. You can't be that desperate to find out if entities do exist, or spirits, or yeah, they do exist. They're here. They're out here.
I have a question for you. And this has been asked to me before, and I thought it was a very, very interesting question. Actually, I'll just ask it how she asked me. She says, when you go on an investigation, how come we always sense other people or cats or dogs or whatever? What about dinosaurs?
No.
Yeah. And I was like, you know something? That's a really interesting question.
That's an interesting question. But you see, the thing is that dinosaurs weren't intelligent beings.
Hmm.
They were not. So dinosaurs were an animal, and people have not ever been around dinosaurs. So how would you know how to identify? I'll tell you
Yeah.
one thing. There are some evil things out there that look like dinosaurs,
Hmm.
and they actually have, the claws, they have the wings, and they're flying all over the place.
Hmm.
But who is to tell that they're a dinosaur? They're not no dinosaur. You cannot connect to a dinosaur because there were no humans around dinosaur. We are connected to other human beings because they lived on these grounds where as humans. But before that, a dinosaur could never come through unless you hear an angry horse, or you might again see a demon that has wings and is basically angry. They get on top of the houses. So if you hear stop walking on your roof, it's one
Yeah.
of those. It's one of those things, but it's not a dinosaur. We cannot connect to dinosaurs because dinosaurs. There was no humans around dinosaurs when they were alive.
I thought no one had ever brought that up. I've never heard anybody talk about that before. And I thought, that's a really interesting question. And I said, I have to do a little research on that because I have no idea.
So basically, that's kind of far fetched.
Yeah. Because
I gotta laugh.
to her, it didn't make any sense because there were life forms before us, and so she says, "How come we don't sense them?" I was like, "Oh, don't know.
Around
Yeah.
when they were around.
Can't relate."
No, can't relate. We can't connect that. I mean, some people say they connect to their cat.
Hmm.
Some people say they connect to a dog. I can't tell you they cannot. They probably can. It depends how much you love your pet and how close you were to your pet. You might hear the dog barking in the middle of the night. You might hear an animal that you used to love and still hanging around an area where you came back to. Maybe you had a horse, and when you came back with your horse. We could hear the horse inside the same room. I mean, that is all possible. But nothing that was connected to humans cannot come back. It's just not, doesn't make any sense. We have no connection. There's no connection there.
Makes sense.
Animals, a lot of people have spiritualists that speak to animals, and everybody's their own. Sorry. Everybody has their own little, way of expressing themselves. And hey, if you can do that, you could do that. I mean, I was never taught that, and so I don't have any experience in that. I've heard dogs barking, but the dogs that I hear barking are not good dogs. So they're not good dogs. Some they call them the angry dogs, and they come with an angry entity, or they come with an angry spirit.
Would those be called what? Are those what other people call hellhounds?
They are hellhounds.
Yeah.
I've heard those. I've heard them, probably because something's walking across the field. I've seen that, and the dog came out before the spirit did, and it's walking, but it's not looking at anybody. It's just walking straight. I was like, wow, that's interesting. Yeah, go away. Push.
Yeah.
That's my thing. I push everything, and that's just, don't come near me.
When you say you push energy, how do you do that? Can you explain it?
Let's see. Let me see how I can explain it to you. So let's say, picture in your head a bubble. Okay. Picture a person inside that bubble. That energy that they have, you could push it.
Okay.
So when I was taught to move energy and move things away from me, that's what I look for. That bubble. Everyone has one. You can't miss it. And it's the simplest thing in my head, but I was taught as a little girl, and that's the way I still see it. People call it your aura, right? And it's like an aura around you, and you can see the colors inside that bubble. If I put you in a bubble with me, you will be protected. But because people tend to use any little bit that they know as malice, then that has to be removed. So I remove it. And the way you do that is that you have to put your hands together and you push. And that push comes from the energy that I carry.
Mm-hmm.
Weird, might be Hollywood, but that's the way I see it. And that's the way I've also shown to do it.
Mm-hmm.
So if you feel that someone's coming at you, or you feel that negative energy of someone who is alive,
Mm-hmm.
and it's just coming right at you, you put your hands together and you do this, and it splits it for some reason. So I don't know how well that works for everyone. I see myself do it. I see myself take energies out of an area, like you're leaving the place right now, just like get out. Stop bothering people, just get out of here. I could do that. It's not manipulation, but if you feel somebody's in danger, if you feel somebody has some type of situation going on where it can be dangerous, or you move it. That's for you to go.
When I go on investigations, if I feel there's negativity around me, how I do it is I picture the white light from within me, and I envision it as almost like an explosion coming out, just to push that negative energy away. That's how I envision it. That's my push.
Your push is your bubble. It's the same thing.
Huh.
So you got
Okay.
it. It's exactly what it is, because it comes from here. It's your center. So it comes from here when I pull out my hands and do this, and it has to go. Because if I have to go back and do it one more time, I'm going to hurt the person.
Oh, okay.
You can only push it enough for it to just take its course. And you have to say always what you want when you're moving it. If I want this energy away from us, I want this energy to move, have it moved. And it moves, and it won't stay there. I have made people just go, and I'm sitting there, believe it or not. It's like I'm sitting there looking at the person, get up, leave. Get up and leave. When somebody was getting on my nerve, put them to sleep. But it takes a lot out of me to be able to do those things, because you're actually moving things out of the way. And it takes a lot of heart to bring yourself back and say, okay, it's just that it was dangerous. It's just because this person was going to harm another. It's because this person had bad intent towards another who is with me, blah, blah, blah. Whatever it takes for you to say, that way it's not something you're doing on purpose, or with malice intent, or with bad intent. So that way there's no karma coming back to you, if that makes sense.
Yep. Is that the same thing as what martial artists refer to as chi? Or is that
It's
something
the
different? Same thing?
It's almost the same as it's pictured as chi, but with chi, it happens to be a more of a strength kind of thing. Like you find your inner strength to
like
fight.
your will?
Yeah. It's more like a control thing with your body. If you have to go break that piece of wood, they want you to think of it, if you're breaking that piece of wood, you're not going to feel anything. So it's body and mind, breaking that piece of wood. When it comes to the spiritual thing, and you want to move that spirit away from you, or you want to move that person's bad intent away from you, it's almost the same, but again, it's a bubble. It comes from within. We don't need this. Let's move it. So we move it. And if it's more than one person there, oh my gosh, they're gone. They're leaving the place. They got to leave the place, because it's not going to be good for them later on. So
You're amazing.
oh my God, thank you. It takes a lot of explanation. It was really hard when I was growing up. I got to tell you, I had a really hard time trying to remember why these things were happening. And because I was taught since I was a little girl that you come with this dawn, and I was like, oh my God, what's going to happen to me next? I'm not going to have people around me. People are going to hate me. I really don't care. So when I was like 21, I was like, yeah, okay, fine. Like, whatever. And I appreciate, what you just told me. And sometimes it's hard to tell a person, look, I can't do that. We're not here to play God. We're here to keep people from being hurt, or attacked by something that doesn't belong on this side. And you are telling me you want me to go out and do this for you? No, no, that's not happening. That's not what I'm here for. So everybody uses excuses. Oh, if you pay me, I think I told you about this.
Yes.
This is the funniest thing. If you pay me $50,000, I could make you part of one of the Orishas. Come on, please. Really? You know what happens? The Orisha, first of all, originated from Africa. It is the same word as every other religion. And I explained this to you. Shango is Jesus, right?
Yes.
Oja is Mary. Um, Mary Magdalene is Oshun. You know what I'm saying? So it spirals out of control. And when people want to be part of the energies of these orishas, they pay people to bring that energy in. Well, how do you know that person says what they're bringing in for all that money? So, needs to say, I've seen a lot of santeros, and many of them were not legit.
Yeah.
Taste it. I'm sorry.
It's okay.
My daughter gave me something. I don't know. Taste it. I'm online, honey. So basically,
Tell her I said hello.
Huh?
Tell her I said hello.
She says hello. Her name is Kat. I think the first one is mine.
This one?
The other one. That's mine. Yeah.
This one?
Hi. Yeah. So,
This reminds me of Zoom meetings when, you can have these big business people talking, and then, a baby shows up in the back, or the dogs are barking, or it just shows everyone's real life. Yeah.
It's always something. So basically, all that stuff can be. I don't wanna say something that's gonna offend anyone. But if you're really gonna have some type of energy, especially with the orishas, you better be good at it. Because when you don't bring in the right energies to put it on someone, you're bringing in a demon.
Oh, and that's not good.
And that's why I say people don't know what's friendly. People don't know what's bad. They don't know what's going on. Can you identify it? Do you have your third eye open? Can you actually see them? No, you can't. But you're claiming you could. And you're claiming that somebody else, like so many women and men, they call themselves mediums, but what can you see? Did you see it? I saw it. Did you see it? It's like, if you see an orb flying around, solidify yourself to me. And they do. And I can see what's going on. Sometimes they're happy, sometimes they're not. Either way, they're going to come out to whatever they're supposed to be at right now. So, do you see what I'm saying? How everybody goes back and forward, and I'm this and I'm that, and So I heard somebody say one day, I'm psychic, medium, flamboyant, blah blah blah, blah blah blah, and I'm like, wow. Because where I come from, it's just one thing: either you have it or you don't. Does that make sense? Remember that from where my lineup of spiritualists, there are no in betweens. They're just not. So basically, again, you either keep yourself on the right side of the white table or on the black side of the table.
There's no in between.
There's no in between. You got to pick a side all the time. So I'm not perfect, and I didn't ask for this. I did not ask for this gift. In the beginning, it was very scary. Though my mother was also a healer, she was able to have me understand a lot of it. And she was my inspiration. And basically, I knew things when they were coming before they happened. I had to be a good teenager. Lies. I used to escape all the time to go dancing. But I didn't do bad things. That's the only, I never did anything bad. Like, we used to come back home, and I was always with my little sister, so I had to be good, But at times there were, people who just didn't like the fact that you can have something like this and it be completely real. We were speaking a few days ago, right?
Yep.
You told me you had a headache. What did I tell you to do?
Yes, put my fingers to the temples and say that, what were the words that you told me? Said that Bibi said to clear it.
Clear and go away.
Yes.
Did it
And it
clear
did.
in the afternoon?
Yeah, it did. And I was like, wow. So thank you.
You're welcome. And the storm, did the storm come near you?
Oh, no. We had some rain, but we didn't even have any thunder. They were calling for severe thunder showers and potential tornadoes, but we didn't. We just had the rain.
Yeah, that wasn't gonna come near you. When it's bad, I will tell you. Oh my God.
Okay.
Get shelter.
Yeah.
If I see it coming, I will tell you. Definitely, I will tell you. So it wasn't gonna come near you at all. That's what I think. That's what I told you. It's not gonna come near you.
Yep. But yeah, and I told you that I get the weather migraine, so it's the energy that I just feel the build up in my head, and it's like, it's horrible.
Yeah, that can happen when you have a sensitive, empathic way. You could pick up energies of the ocean, the air, the grounds, and even fire. So let's say when there's bad winds, you probably will get tremblance, like your body will feel like it's moving. When you get into the water and the water's not good, you will run out of that water real quick. Like I see something in the water, I shouldn't be in here. You're going to feel that because it's supposed to. So you already know that you're an empath.
Yep.
Correct. So you have to see it for why the warnings are coming out. They're giving you the warning so you will not put yourself in danger or no one else around you, because that's what empaths are. You get the energies of the things that can happen before they do. So you have that. And you'll be good. You'll be good. Yay. I could see someone's face and go, oh my gosh, no. But I told you, a lot of men are just scared of me. They just.
What's the word? Intimidated.
Yeah, but you know what? It's not about that. It's not about being intimidated. It's about being real to the person that you're claiming to have something or someone with, you know? You just can't, you can't get past anything by me. Anything.
And that scares people.
Yeah. So matter of fact, there was a time where someone asked me, I need you to find out what my grandfather's middle name was.
Yes.
And I was with the person on the phone, and I was at work, he was at work. And I was like, I heard this woman call out this name real fast. Joseph! Joseph! Like really, really loud. And I'm like, and I'm looking around, I'm in my room inside, in the office, in my room, and the door is closed, and I'm like, okay, there's a lady in here now, and she is screaming out Joseph. When I told the person, yeah, your grandfather's middle name was Joseph, that's what his mother called him. They floored. And he says, nobody's been able to find that out. I said, well, I just did, and the lady's in my room right now. I gotta go. Because it was an old school Italian woman, like I'm talking about maybe early 1800s, and she was screaming out loud. You know how Spanish and Italian women get really loud and they get all like crazy about things. So she was screaming at her son because he wasn't doing whatever she wanted him to do. Anyway, that's the way I saw her. And then once I hanged up the phone, she disappeared. That was the connection. Even though it's the bloodline. The bloodline was him to the connection to find out what the name was. And then after that, I said, let me call him tonight. So I called him later on. And when I did, I said, were you surprised? He goes, I am screwed up right now. Nobody could do that. No one was
mind blown.
Mind blowing. Yeah. It's like, wow. I got to go. Okay, bye. Talk to you soon. But it's those little things. So the other thing I was going to tell you was about the seance. Okay. Woo. Lord. All right. So my mother always said, when you're going to create a seance, the seance created by the bloodline of the person you're trying to bring in, right? So again, if the person died 6 months ago, you're not going to get the person. Why? Because they're on a different trail and you cannot bring them back from that. At that point, 6 months, they are usually in a place where they're supposed to start their mission on the other side. So It's the best way to put it. So if you're in a room full of people and they're all saying, oh, can you get somebody in for me? Can you get my grandmother? Can you get my mom? Can you get my dad? No, we can't. A seance is conducted by the people who are involved with that just one person. You cannot have a room full of people and try to open that up. Because even I, who have a lot of experience, if I were to open that kind of door, I don't know what's coming in there every second. And you know, they travel at the light speed. They come in quick and they might stay and some of them might go. So to me, to say I'm going to do a seance and see what comes in, I don't believe you. And the reason why is because you cannot be playing like that. You don't know what you're bringing in. So if I've done seance with one person or the people involved with that one person, but never in a room full of people. So the Long Island medium doesn't play that game. She does one person at a time. Then you have other people who will have a room full of people and say, well, I'm thinking of somebody with brown pants. Anybody could have had brown pants up. Blonde hair, green eyes, anybody could be that person. But that's a lie. You cannot concentrate in so many people, because if you open that door, you're going to open the door to something you don't understand. And you might not be able to close it. And that's why I say, if you're going to do a seance, it's got to be the person's bloodline. That's it. Because seances are not for everybody. You cannot use a seance to sanction bad. For example, if you're going to use a seance to take out a demon, it's a bad idea. Don't do it. Because you open the door and you're going to bring other ones in. Those are the rules. I didn't create the rules. That's what happens.
Yep.
So many people have gone to so many houses. Oh, this in here, I can't get it out. Well, it's your house. If you're going to want something out of your house, you have to tell it to leave. When it doesn't work for you anymore, then I'll join you to tell it to leave. And that's the way it works. Because I don't live there, and I'm not going to take it home. It's really not going to go home with me. So you got to know when, how, and all these seances. I heard somebody's having a seance with 50 people. And I was like, oh my God, how do you do that? How do you do that? I want to see how it's done. Let me learn this part. Because I've never learned this.
Plus, all the different energies from all those 50 people.
It's not going to happen. It doesn't work, Kat. It does not work. That's all for either showing off, or because when you can't really produce what people are paying for, you're going to be in trouble.
Yeah.
Do you see what I'm saying? And, you know, like I told you, when people want to do readings, if you're paying $125, you're paying $100 too much.
Because you said it should be $21.
That's right. It's $21. That's what it says in the book of Daniel. That's what it should be. $21. That's what I was taught. If you charge more than that, you're being greedy. And greed does not help you. Actually, they start moving away from you. If you have any energies that can help you read those cards. But then again, people can memorize cards and the books and how the cards are read. What makes the difference between me and a person who does that is that when I do the reading, I read you before I put out the cards. That's the difference. Because I come with an energy that's going to help me go through these cards. And a lot of people don't have an energy. They just know how to read the cards. Because if you open the book and say, oh my God, I know what this one means, I know what that one means.
But would the meanings be different for one person from another?
If you have the energies to read, if you have a spirit that helps you read your cards, it would totally be different.
Yeah.
Because every coordination of reading how the cards land should be different from somebody who reads the book. And the reason why is because those cards are actually have different meanings as you reading them through the spirit. The spirit's going to tell you the beginning, the end, and the middle, the end, and the beginning of that card. Not just tell you, well, it's upside down, that means that you're going to lose something. It doesn't work that way. If it's upside down, what comes next? Let's say the 10 of swords is upside down on a reading, and then next to it you get the King of Hearts, or the Queen of the Queen of Cups, or the King of Cups. So what happens? Something's gonna end with this person. That's what's gonna happen. I never read cards upside down because the cards have the same meaning facing up. So it doesn't matter. They still mean the same thing. If you get the Hangman next to the King of Cups, and you have the Ten of Swords, the King of Cups he's stuck. That's why he has to break this up. You understand? So the readings are different because you come with an energy that's going to help you make that expression and how would it connect to you. And I've seen a lot of readers that don't make that connection with the person. You have to make the connection with the person before you start reading them. Because how they're going to believe that whatever you say is going to be a connection? They're not going to know. Well, she read me, and none of the stuff she said, it belongs to me. I understand, but did she do a reading with you before your reading? And a lot of people don't do that.
If I'm understanding correctly, it's symbolism. It's kind of like you could see a red rose and I could see a red rose, but they have two different meanings because it's just a symbolism. Would it be something like that?
No, not at all. So let's say you see the red rose and I see the red rose. Okay, we both see it as a red rose. Correct. But if you do not express how that red rose is going to connect with you, how would you be able to tell that person what the red rose means? Then it's just the red rose.
Yep.
That makes any sense?
Does, yep.
Okay. So when people are reading you cards and they're not unable to explain what the card is trying to say, they are going to get the wrong reading. Because it's not just the meaning from a book, it's how the cards are connected to you. So whatever comes out in the reading, we could do 6 cards, and the 6 cards are going to say something like the book says, but you got to read those cards according to you. That's why I got to read a person before I read them on a tarot card. I know it's bad,
perfect
right?
sense.
I don't have timing. I don't do half an hour, 10 minutes. That does not exist either. You read into your spirit says I had enough.
So it could be 5 minutes. It could be an hour.
It could be. It could be 45 minutes. It could be anything. Into the spirit says this is all I've got to say. That's it. That's what. I don't take it any further. And then I read people every 90 days. By the way.
Why 90 days? Because
you cannot. Anything that those cards are going to put out will happen between 24 to 90 days. Guarantee. And I'm not kidding when I tell you guarantee. If I do a reading and I tell you this is what's going to happen, A, B, C, and D, you have to understand between 24 hours and 90 days, this stuff is going to fall into place. You can change certain things from happening. That's up to you. But I can't stop you from doing it. That's just, it tells you exactly what will happen in the next, 90 days. That's the number that I got. And they don't say why.
Of course. That would be too easy.
But of course, if karma is going to go back to someone from doing something back to me, it's 24 hours. They don't wait. Especially if I did nothing to the person.
Yep.
When people are bad, you're just bad. You're going to get karma from it.
Within 24 hours.
Yeah, no, I cannot take it back either. Like, it is what it is. So I basically, just take it for what it is. It's okay. Later on, if people want to hate me, oh, no, how about like this? That's fine. I did nothing to you. But good luck.
I like your outlook.
Yeah.
Well, my friend, we could probably go on for hours and hours, and it's been over an hour now, so I would love to have you on again at some point, if you're willing.
Anytime you need me. You know that.
Yes.
You got me.
Thank you.
You got me, Kat. Yay. All right. Yeah, you're going to party with me. You'll love it.
Well, thank you so very much for being on here. Is there anything else that you would like to say before we sign off?
Well, I appreciate everyone that has respected that there is a side that most people do not understand, and I like the fact that when people are starting to get more acquainted with the fact that we cannot ignore the things that we see, but we can ignore the idiots that believe that this does not exist. It does. It's very vivid. It's all over the place. And the more and more we see, that's an issue at the end of the day. So, happy ghost hunting.
Happy ghost hunting. Thank you so much. Stay on the line. We'll chat just for a couple of minutes, but thank you so much. Much love and light to you.
Likewise.
Thank you.
Namaste.
Well, we've made it to the end of another episode. Thanks so much for listening. Until next time, take care of each other. And if you'd like to be on the show or have questions and